Yep, you read the title. David Haye, Global Superstar. Now, it was actually, I was looking through some videos and I came across an interesting video called David Haye's Greatest Hits. And you know what I did? I put the video on, and it was obviously done by Haymaker's team, or even David himself, I don't know. I put the video on. I said, you know what? Let me just watch it. Let me just look at this guy's career and not say nothing, not criticism, not thinking about any the pull out of the fights, all the antics. And I just watched it. And in the whole of this video, you just saw Haye going through his career, building his career up, knocking guys out, going through various tests, getting beat by Thompson, and obviously coming back and becoming champion of the world, beating Mormek, and then becoming heavyweight champion of the world. And you know, I'm looking at this guy and thinking to myself, you know what? This guy, this David Haye, could be a global superstar. I mean, okay, look at this. He is almost a complete package. Hear me out. He is former cruiserweight world champion, unified world champion. I'm not going to call him undisputed because there was another world champion called Steve Cunningham. And regardless of what David may tell you, to be undisputed, you have all the belts. And Cunningham would have been the IBF champion, I believe. And it would be nice to see Haye fight Cunningham and beat Cunningham to clean that up. If bearing in mind what Cunningham has done as a cruiserweight, and then recently gone up and done as a heavyweight, and continues to do as a heavyweight, and even in the process managed to drop Tyson Fury. Something that David Haye was unable to do because he pulled out on 2 fights. But you know, let's put it. He's a guy who can knock you out with either hand. So he's got explosive punch power. He is marketable. He's got charisma. One of the biggest trash talkers you can get. And an individual. You know, he's one who will say what he feels when he wants to say it. Some of the things David said in terms of Audley and the gang rape and stuff was probably a bit too crass. And maybe he will also look back on the incident with Vladimir Klitschko, call him out and call him all those names and then getting beat quite badly. Almost, you know, maybe he may have gone a step too far with that. But if you go back and you look at the HBO face-off between Vladimir Klitschko and David Haye, if you didn't find that tense but then still find it at the same time, you know, it was exciting. And you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. If we knew that David was going to get in the ring and wasn't going to deliver on the performance, then we probably would have been as hyped for the fight. But it was fun, and it's been fun, and I think he's definitely missed in the heavyweight division. Could he be a global superstar? Of course he could be. I think he could be. Under the right management, of course he could be. And he's got a punch that can trouble any heavyweight in the world today, which makes him dangerous. You know, the longer David Haye's out of boxing, in terms of, you know, the more with time people's hearts heal, he can be forgiven for what's happened. Obviously, the people such as Tyson Fury, who's had 2 training camps cancelled because of him and lost a lot of money, and Shah and the Klitschko's, all that scenario, obviously those people will be deeply affected by what David has done and may not be so forgiving. But for the casual fan who probably, you know, who'll say, okay, you know, I didn't get to see David then, but I may get to see him in the future. There's some big fights you could see him in. Some major fights you could see David Haye. So why couldn't he be a global superstar? And it's not like he's not. You couldn't call him world class because, you know, he has a world class punch and he's got good movement as a fighter. People say, well, David's not got a chin at heavyweight, but you know, he hasn't been knocked out at heavyweight, has he? And he got dropped by Mormick at cruiserweight, and you could say he was weight drained at cruiserweight, bearing in mind what he's doing as a heavyweight. And if he can hurt that 7 foot, whatever his name, what was his name again? The Beast from the East. What's his name again? can't remember his name again. But if he can wobble him in the 12th round, shows that David's got punch power from round 1 to round 12. And he's probably one of the most marketable heavyweights not fighting at the moment. So, and you could put him in any of the top 10, barring Klitschko, and give him and give David a good enough chance. And the fact that, you know, he's split from Adam Booth now. What is the age? He's 30 or 31, something like that. So he's still young. He hasn't taken a lot of punches, and he's not been involved in a lot of wars. He's got experience. And can you imagine him having a good American trainer with him now? No disrespect to Adam Booth, but, you know, now that David's in this new era of his career, this new chapter of his career, like I said before, with a good American trainer, you know, and good American TV behind him, there's no reason why David Haye couldn't go on to become a global superstar. You know, you're taking the right fights, fighting the right opponents. Why not? It'd be interesting to hear what people think about this. Of course, I'm not, you know, we can't forget what he's done and how he's let fans down. So he's going to have to, when he comes back, no pullouts, and he's just got to gain the fans, this trust of the fans back. But in terms of him as a fighter and what he brings to the ring as entertainment, I think it'd be hard pressed to find anybody who could say David Haye's a boring fighter. And, you know, there are lots of matchups for him. So those are my thoughts. David Haye, global superstar. Could he do it? I think he could. I think his charisma and, yeah, a lot of ladies like him. I think his charisma will travel. And as long as he does the fighting and he's known as a boxer and not a celebrity, then I think he could well become a global superstar. And under the guidance of someone like Al Heyman, 2-3 years, even signing with Golden Boy, in fact, 2-3 years of two top fights a year, or 3 top fights a year, depending, and getting a version of the title back can happen. So, would you be interested to see Haye versus Fury in the future? If Haye were to somehow become world champion again, would you want to see that? But yeah, those are some thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. It's very important to hear what you say, because you know, you are other boxing fans, and it's always good to hear your opinions, not always about what I've got to say. But yeah, there's my thoughts. So, David, all is forgiven. Come back and get involved in some great fights. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'm out.